I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you don't need a personal trainer to lose weight. What you do need is you need a good philosophy, and having a good personal trainer, having a good fitness coach will help with providing you with a good philosophy to lose weight and build muscle. Maybe the right kind of book, the right kind of research. It really does depend, because certain things resonate, or I should say this, certain information or the way information is delivered resonates with people differently than others. I'll give you one example would be the paleo diet. The paleo diet philosophy is probably one of the best out there right now as far as good nutrition. And I say that because the whole idea of the paleo diet is you're trying to eat whole foods. You're trying to eat foods that have the least amount of processing possible. In fact, what I tell a lot of clients, and everybody in fact, just for weight loss, for health, just for long-term focused philosophy for nutrition, is that you want to eat foods with the least amount of processing possible. Now, how do protein shakes, protein bars, how do vitamins fit into this? How does, what if you don't have time to cook? What if you don't know how to cook? Maybe you should learn how to cook. That would be probably a good choice. Let's say you don't have time. Well, if you don't make time for your health, what do you expect you're going to get out of your body if you don't take the time to take care of yourself? So anyways, I'll digress back a little bit to what I was talking about, is that the least amount of processing possible, because that's just the best source. I'm sure you've heard that, you may have heard that grass-fed beef is the best, or grass-fed meat and free-range chicken. Sometimes, in reality, some of that stuff is not very cheap, and it's not practical. It's not practical for a lot of families. I'm married, I have 2 kids, and having to buy grass-fed beef isn't the easiest thing to get a hold of. It's easy, but it's just not cheap. So we want to be practical about things as well. The main thing that I just want to put emphasis on is no processing in food. The second piece would be carbohydrate control. So we're talking about weight loss in particular. Everyone is a little different when it comes to weight loss, and people tolerate different things. If there's one thing for sure that's guaranteed, if you don't eat, you will lose weight. Of course, that's not healthy. I'm not recommending you don't eat. I don't recommend you starve yourself, but keep in mind, calories in, calories out is something you have to consider. It's not the end-all be-all of everything, but it's something you have to consider. You do need to watch your caloric intake. Now, I was talking about carbohydrates. Usually, for most people, if you cut your carbohydrate intake, what will end up happening is you will eat less calories automatically. Protein and fat have a very high satiation value. And if you eat more protein and more fat, of course vegetables, you keep your carbohydrates low, starchy breads, rice, and pastas, you're going to lose weight because you eat less calories. Now, this doesn't work for everybody. The weight loss works, but feeling good doesn't always work. And it's being able to understand and tinker with your body as far as what diet you should have for ideal weight loss and performance. I see a lot of people who work really, really hard in the gym, and they push themselves, They work out a lot. I work out a lot, depending on how motivated I am. And here's the thing. You're just really not going to burn a lot of fat. Just think about this for a second. If we're going with the calories in, calories out kind of paradigm, if you were to spend an hour on a treadmill and burn 700 calories, well, how would that be any different than not eating 700 calories? That's just something I just kind of want you to think about. How much of a difference does it make if you're really using the calories in, calories out? So again, we take the first rung, or the first kind of thing I want to keep in mind when I'm talking, is that food quality is going to be always first, and I 100% believe that. Number one, again, just really for health. Now, for the weight loss piece, or staying lean, is understanding that carbohydrates and caloric intake are the next 2 things. And some people who just cut their carbs will just lose a lot of weight really fast. And that's kind of what I try to do with people. I try to help them lower their carbohydrates and get them on a low carbohydrate plan to lose weight. But it kind of depends on the person. You know, if you have like 80, 100 pounds to lose, I mean, a lower carbohydrate diet is definitely going to be something you're going to need to do. It's going to have a much more profound effect on weight loss. It just depends on like how much grams I'm going to recommend, or depending on what you need to change in your diet, what you do during the day, what your exercise is. There's a lot of little different factors. And then also, if you're really lean, let's say you have 10 pounds to lose, or 15 pounds, or you're just trying to get that midsection nice and lean, it really depends on where you're coming from, you know? So, I mean, if you're not, let's say you're, you know, typically a six-pack is about, you know, a six-pack is like single digits, like 6%, 7%, 9% body fat. To get to that point, if you've been there before, if you've had a six-pack or something close to a six-pack before, then you don't really have to manipulate your carbohydrates nearly as much, or you don't need to eat such a low carbohydrate diet. If you've never had a six-pack, or you've never really been lean, or if you've always been heavy most of the time, most of your life, or just kind of been either non-athletic or just a fat kid like me, I was a fat kid, it's pretty tough, you know, because the reality is your body is going to want to get stuck at a specific weight. And when you're trying to change your body, and you're trying to force it outside of that particular weight range, it could be 220 or it could be 190, you know. You have to teach your body to not be 190. I mean, how do you do that? You eat less calories. Lowering carbohydrates helps a lot. Does exercising help? It helps you burn more calories to lose more body fat. But the philosophy that I want you to take away from this, at least from this video that I'm posting, is that don't use exercise as a means for weight loss. You can accelerate weight loss, but all your weight loss will come from nutrition. I mean, I used to tell people 70, 60, 70, 80% of your results come from nutrition, you know, or weight loss, I should say. I tell people now 99%, you know, I might as well just say 100%, because if you don't eat correctly, or you don't eat properly, or if you don't understand nutrition for what you're trying to accomplish, then you're not going to get very far. You know, you're going to run into all kinds of problems, you know. I'll just give you an example. I had a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about how he wants to get leaner. He wants to lose body fat. But the problem is, he's already pretty lean. He's fit, he's strong, he's fast, and he wants to maintain his level of performance level. And he works out really hard, you know. When you want to cut to lower percentages of body fat, you have to prioritize what it is that you want to accomplish. And so what that might mean is that you may have to sacrifice, or you most likely have to sacrifice particular sports performance effects in order to get leaner. You know, so for example, lowering carbohydrates is great for losing weight and getting lean, but it's not great if you're trying to run a marathon, or if you're trying to run marathon, half marathon, or do CrossFit, or do CrossFit endurance type stuff. To do a triathlon, anything, or even really, really high volume, intense weight training. You know, a higher carbohydrate intake is required. Now, how much carbohydrate do you need? That's very individualized, you know. Again, we start with the basics. You know, there's certain percentages that work ideal for people. But again, if you're really into training and you're really into working out, then you're going to have to fiddle around a little bit to find what's best for you. And again, a big part of having a coach, or you know, getting professional help, whether it be from a personal trainer or a doctor or physical therapist or nutritionist, expert, dietitian, whatever, is that the approach has to be tailored specifically to you, and no one's going to care more about your results than you. So, you know, I do a lot of research, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of podcast listening, I watch a lot of these videos, and if you really care about changing your body and you're stuck, you just have to you need to find the information. And if you look for it, I guarantee you're going to find something. Not all of it, but you're going to find something to be able to move yourself in the direction you want to. It's all about, and when it comes down to it, it really comes down to how bad you want it.